It was the smile that did it. When the jury foreman said guilty, the entire courtroom held its breath, except him, the man in the gray suit. He didn't flinch, didn't blink, just smiled, a slow, quiet curl of the lips like he'd just won the lottery. And in that moment I knew he hadn't lost at all. The air in courtroom 3B hung thick with stale coffee, sweat, and something sharper. Fear. Rain tapped against the high windows like it was trying to get in, to bear witness. The judge sat rigid, knuckles white on the bench. The jury avoided eye contact, already packing their verdict into mental boxes they'd carry home like guilt. In the front row, a woman clutched a tissue so hard it shredded in her hands. She was the victim's sister. And the man who'd just been convicted of killing her brother. He was her ex-fiancé. His name was Daniel Reeves, 34, former high school teacher. Clean record. Until 6 months ago, when his best friend Marcus Cole was found dead in his own garage, stabbed 17 times. The murder weapon? A kitchen knife from Daniel's apartment, his fingerprints on the handle. His car spotted near Marcus's house that night, and a text sent from Daniel's phone just hours before the murder. We need to talk, tonight. The prosecution painted him as a jealous monster. Marcus had just gotten engaged to the woman Daniel once loved. The defense argued it was circumstantial, a setup, but the evidence was overwhelming. The jury took less than 3 hours to convict. Yet, that smile, I was the court reporter. My job was to listen, not react. But I couldn't unsee it. Daniel's lawyer, Elena Martinez, had fought like a lion. Sharp eyes, sharper tongue. She'd paced the floor during closing arguments, voice trembling not with anger but with something deeper, certainty. You're convicting a man based on convenience, she'd said, staring straight at the jury. Not truth, but no one listened, until the sentencing hearing. That's when everything unraveled. The judge called for final statements. The victim's sister stood, tears streaming. He took my brother from me, she whispered. He doesn't deserve to breathe the same air. Then Daniel stood. He didn't look at her, didn't look at the judge. He looked straight at me, the court reporter, and said, I have something to say. Something no one's heard. The room went still. Even the rain seemed to pause. Elena shot to her feet. Your Honor, this isn't procedure. Let him speak, the judge said, voice low. Something in Daniel's tone had shifted the air. Daniel took a breath. I didn't kill Marcus, a scoff from the prosecutor. The sister turned away, but Daniel kept going. I was there that night, but I didn't stab him. I found him like that, and I ran, because I knew how it would look. Then why didn't you call the police? The prosecutor snapped, because I saw who did it. Silence. Thick, suffocating. Who? The judge asked. Daniel's voice dropped to a whisper. His fiancée. The room exploded. No. The sister cried. Lena would never. She was there, Daniel said, eyes burning. She came to Marcus's house that night. They argued. About the wedding. About money. About how he'd been lying to her for months. Elena stepped forward, stunned. Daniel, why didn't you tell us this before? Because she threatened me. His voice cracked. She said if I told anyone, she'd make sure I took the fall. And she had proof. Photos of me leaving the house that night. Texts I never sent. She'd been planning this for weeks. Then he turned to the sister. You think I killed your brother? I loved him more than anyone. He was my brother, too, in every way that mattered. The sister froze, because it was true. Daniel and Marcus had been inseparable since college. Roommates, best men at each other's weddings. Except Daniel's never happened. And then Elena did something no one expected. She pulled a USB drive from her pocket. Your Honor, I've been holding on to this. From an anonymous source, dated the night of the murder. She plugged it into the courtroom laptop. The screen flickered, security footage from Marcus's neighbor's camera. Grainy, but clear enough. There, on the screen, was Lena, Marcus's fiancée, slipping out of his garage at 11:47 p.m. Her hands were shaking. Her dress was stained, and in her hand, a knife. The courtroom gasped. The sister collapsed into her seat, hand over her mouth. The prosecutor stood, pale. This wasn't disclosed. Because I only got it yesterday, Elena said. After Daniel finally told me the truth, the judge leaned forward, eyes narrowed. Ms. Reeves, Lena, is she in the building? A bailiff checked the gallery. No, Your Honor, she hasn't attended any of the hearings. Of course she hadn't. She thought it was over, but it wasn't. The judge vacated the conviction on the spot, ordered a new investigation. As Daniel walked out of the courtroom a free man, he didn't smile this time. He looked broken, haunted. I followed him outside. Rain soaked his shoulders. Why wait until now? I asked. You could have cleared your name months ago. He turned to me, eyes red. Because I made a promise to Marcus to protect her, even after what she did. He loved her, and part of me still does. I didn't know what to say. He walked away, disappearing into the gray afternoon. Later I learned Lena was arrested at JFK Airport. trying to board a flight to Lisbon. In her suitcase, Marcus's wedding ring, and a one-way ticket paid for with his credit card. The real killer wasn't some stranger in the shadows. She was the woman everyone trusted, the grieving fiancée, the perfect victim. And Daniel? He'd carried the weight of her secret to protect the memory of the man they both loved. Justice isn't always fair. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's blind, but truth always finds its way out, even if it takes a smile in a courtroom to crack it open. And as I packed up my notes that day, I couldn't shake one thought. The real killer was never behind bars. She was sitting in the front row the whole time, watching, waiting, smiling.